everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here. Our panel discussion today is Legacy Builders, Diasporic Innovation and the Future of Entrepreneurship. Such powerful words, right? I think I have to read that twice. Legacy Builders, there we go, Diasporic Innovation and the Future of Entrepreneurship. My name is Alexis Chin, and I am the Director of Operations at Black Ambition. You heard a little from our Managing Director last night, Jermaine Sherman. And just to reiterate who we are a non-profit organization founded by Pharrell Williams in 2020. And we work towards closing and bridging the wealth and opportunity gaps for underrepresented entrepreneurs. And we do this through access to capital, community, and just genuine care for that holistic journey for our entrepreneurs. Our panel today is really about how identity, creativity, and purpose can become powerful engines for innovation. I have with me today the pleasure of sharing the stage with 3 of our Black Ambition prize winners from 2025. I will allow them to introduce themselves. Go ahead, Addae.
Hi, everyone. Hello, everyone. I'm AJ, and I am the founder and CEO of Sula Labs, which is a laboratory based in Los Angeles focused on closing inclusivity gaps for melanin-rich skin and textured hair in the beauty industry.
Buenos días, Maria Medrano. Good morning, everyone. My name is Maria Medrano. I am the co-founder of Inspírame. For those that do not speak Spanish, Inspírame means inspire me in English. And we are a social impact technology company where we build technology that help close the gap around access to education. And what we're in the business of doing is just ensuring that everyone, and when I say everyone have the opportunity to know what opportunities are available for them. And then we simplify the path by actually telling them where to go learn those skills affordably so they have the same opportunities that everyone else has to ensure that they have a very lively life. So I'm excited to share more and really excited to be here with all of you today.
Yes, and I am Jannae Gammage, co-founder and CEO of Cypher. We're based in Kansas City, Kansas. Go Chiefs. We focus on the access to capital side. So we have created a technology and infrastructure that bridges that gap for small business owners who are looking for funding that traditionally would be overlooked or not meet traditional criteria. We've created a translation layer so that is no longer an excuse.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for being here today, and we really look forward to sharing the conversation and dropping those gems with the audience that we have here today. So we believe that this conversation is very timely, especially as the Festival of the Diaspora celebrates their 5-year of existence. So congrats to the festival organizers. It's so important to speak about diasporic innovation in the mix of it all. But what exactly, let's start with this framing question. What exactly does diasporic innovation mean to you? Want to take that, Jannae?
What does it mean to me? I mean, I hear that and I hear legacy. There was a conversation, the conversation yesterday, the opening reception, and we were kind of speaking about how it's just in us already, how it's embedded in us. There are things in situations that us, our ancestors, it's just in our bloodline to be able to overcome and work through. I do want to get past that space though. So I don't want it to be the norm anymore that, you know, we are scrappy or we are this or we are that and we have to do these things in order to be successful. Like, I think it's time to transition out of that, and that's going to take innovative thinking and innovative mindset. We focus a lot on how we can create technologies and do all these things and new systems, but we never really focus on our mindsets and innovating that and what that would look like and how we step into this new era of innovation for us. So when I hear that, that's what I think is the innovation of the mindset.
And I'll jump in because this was not planned, right?
Yeah.
We did not rehearse this.
Yeah.
But what I call that, and I bring this into the corporate space, and I have these conversations all the time, is that we have to put more value on people's lived experiences. Mm-hmm. And if we can call it as lived experiences, it's just what we all get to do. And by doing that, then we get to reinforce the growth mindset that's needed. Yes. And I say that because that's what I built with our application for that very reason, because we know that the mindset is what's needed, because we've done it all this time, but we don't really know what to call it. So I always am telling folks, look, it's just own your lived experience, and that's what I believe is the diaspora piece. That if we can just make that happen, then it just is what we do.
I mean, y'all kind of stole the words out of my mouth. But I'll just add a little bit more to that. When I think of those words, I think of creativity. Like, I think that's something that's come up a lot, especially as, you know, generationally we get closer and closer to freedom. And like you were saying, Jannae, as well, like, we don't want to limit ourselves to feeling like we need to be scrappy, and that's like our only contribution to society. So when I think of diasporic innovation, I'm like, how can I be as creative as possible in order to get us closer to freedom?
A very strong foundation to start on, for sure. And what that has re-emphasized for us, it's not an abstract anymore, right? It's deep practicality that is behind what we describe as diasporic innovation. So let's dig a little bit deeper. I'll get into the individual stories a little bit more now. So Maria, let's start off with you. Inspire.me is addressing a very real need for students and families. What is that specific gap that you're closing, and what is that lived experience that we just spoke about that teaches you about designing a solution that is working?
Yeah, so I will tell you that I'm sitting on the stage and I'm thinking, wow, 5 years of what you all created, 5 years of what I've started with Inspira.me, but it's been a lifetime on the work that we've been doing. And I say this because my mom was 16 when she had me. She became an orphan at the age of 3. I proudly grew up on welfare services in the city of San Francisco in the bright state of California with no shame, with the understanding that we need a little bit of help now, but that my number one job was to go to school. And my mom would always tell me, you're gonna go to school and you're going to go to this place called college. I've heard about it. I don't know what it is or how to get there, but I know that you'll figure it out. It's a real story. And so that was my job. And the reality is that I was the only one of about 3,000 of us in our community that managed to get that done. And that's not okay. And the reality is that in California, if you are Black, brown, first generation refugee, 85% chance that you are going to drop out. And the data speaks for itself. And that's the leading state. So then I imagine this is happening across the nation, and it is. And then it's happening across the globe. It's a consistent piece. So I took my lived experience of being the first in my family to graduate high school, the first one to go to college, the first one to go to graduate school, not once but twice, because you have to demonstrate twice as hard about what you do. And then I was able to stumble into this place called corporate America, which I didn't know what corporate America was, but I spent 24 years working across tech companies like Google, Cisco, Visa, Equinix, and I started as an individual contributor because, again, I was the first, all the way into the executive ranks. And I got to see more and more that there was never enough of us sitting at that table. And because I married my college sweetheart who ended up becoming a college counselor, and oh, by the way, was the first in his family as well to have graduated high school, because let's face it, he was on the high school to prison pipeline because he's a Chicano boy in California. Well, I knew that our students were not getting through because they didn't even know what they were looking forward to. So that's the problem that we're looking to solve with EcoGuide, is exposing the real opportunities, inspiring through real stories of real people. And then once we hook them there, we tell them exactly what classes to take and when to take them the most local and affordable way possible, because we know most can't just get up and move. But if they want to, they can. And so my vision is to stop talking about education around enrollment. Let's start talking about completion, and let's start holding educational systems accountable for ensuring that we all get to complete the skills we want to complete.
Can we say legacy building there? Absolutely. And what is important is that Maria, what you've spoken about is that you have a deep understanding of the people who you serve. And this extends just not only to your generation, but to generations to come. And that's the diasporic innovation that we're talking about.
Absolutely, and multi-generational. So even today, it's not too late for anyone. And I think the biggest thing, because I'm still in the corp space, so let me just make that very clear. I'm still in the executive space, in the tech space, because they know they need my innovation, despite the fact that they know that I am the CEO of Inspírame, and that I'm here because I'm unique in that space, right? And what I find myself doing more and more in my role is ensuring understanding in every room that I step into. And that just makes me that much more proximate to the reality of who our communities are. And I love it. It gives me energy.
I feel the passion for sure. AJ, turning to you. Your work is also rooted in seeing a gap that many people overlooked or misunderstood. What's the science or insight that most people miss about serving melanin-rich skin? And how did you turn that into a scalable business?
Yeah, so for those who just walked into the room a second ago after I introduced myself, I own a lab, and that lab specifically focuses around beauty, specifically building products for those that have melanin-rich skin and textured hair. So one thing that I had to consider when, starting my lab was, do I want to have a skincare brand? Do I want to have a hair care brand? Or do I want to build something, like talk about legacy, where other brands can benefit, from what I'm formulating? Because my background is in being a chemist and a clinical researcher. And before I even was faced with this question, I spent years working in cosmetics, first as a writer, and then I became a scientist in cosmetics. And what I found really interesting was that products were getting approved that did not necessarily address, darker skin or textured hair, right? I would make sunscreens, they would have that white cast that you see with sunscreens, and they would literally get approved and go out into the shelves. So when I was leaving my job, I was like, I want to start something that would address this problem. Mind you, there's a lot of, and this is a word that comes up a lot in having a business delusion. There's definitely a lot of delusion, right? That gets you to your goals. So I was like, sure, why not? I'm in my at the time, I'm in my early 20s. Let me leave my job and start a business, right? What could go wrong? That was, many years ago, and I'm glad that I did it, because when thinking about what to do about that problem, going back to that question, do I have a brand or do I start a lab? And I found that starting a lab would be the best way to address this problem on a larger scale. So you'll see our clients in Target, Sephora, Ulta. It's cool to see those products. Seeing them is one thing, but knowing how many people we get to serve is really the magic in all of it. And so when I think about the science, going back to your question, it's one thing in the Black Ambition program that was made clear to me by my mentor was that most of the people in the world have melanin-rich skin and textured hair. So what I'm doing isn't niche. What we're doing at Sula Labs isn't necessarily special. I mean, it is, but it's a no-brainer, right? The fact that most people in the world have curly hair, most people in the world have darker skin. So by serving that particular demographic, we're actually, serving a lot more people. Brands are literally leaving money on the table, purchases out of the question when they don't develop things with that in mind. So I think turning it into a scalable business has really been having that realization, really trying to lock in and understand the needs of brands, why they're not able to serve melanin-rich skin and textured hair. And then knowing that we're kind of the first, solving that problem is also really comforting, because we just iterate and iterate, and I think that operational efficiency has become one of the things that is making it scalable.
Amazing. At Black Ambition, we have supported 157 bold entrepreneurs. The word bold stands out here, as AJ has just confirmed that she was bold enough just to stand up against mainstream, go against everything that we believe is societal standards and societal norms, and just break everything that society thinks it's supposed to be. So congratulations on those bold moves.
Thank you, thank you.
Jannae, turning it over to you, bringing you in here. Your work takes us directly into the question of access and opportunity. If capital flowed fairly, what would look different for underestimated founders, and how does your product change the game?
Ooh, how long do we have? Let me back up. Cypher is a technology that kind of standardizes the system so that it works for everyone. What a lot of people, I think, accepted as the status quo before we existed is that it's just hard to get money as a business owner. That's just what it is. And if you're black, it's 10 times harder. And that's everyone just, for some reason, felt like that was okay. And then COVID kind of exposed a lot of things about the system that we already knew, and then some new things. And that is actually how, the origin story of Cypher. I had just exited my last company, and I was just traveling, just doing whatever. Colombia and COVID, I had to come home, and I was appointed by the SBA to come in and essentially do what Cypher is doing now, which is help solve this problem, help dig into what's going wrong so that policy could be created. And what I noticed very quickly is that was all performative. It was very much, yes, we know this is happening, so let's throw some dollars at it, let's throw some people at it, and we can say that we tried, and that will be the thing, that this has to remain the status quo. And to me, it was just like, no, absolutely not. Seeing businesses become insolvent over, missing a few payments, or just things that shouldn't take a business out. And it was everyone. It didn't matter race. It didn't matter how long you were in business. You could have been a 10-year veteran-owned business, and you still could go out of business in a matter of 2 weeks during COVID. So that is where we started with technology. And the biggest thing that I noticed, and going back to your question, if capital moved freely, the relationship tax. For me, that is completely gone. It should not matter who you know or what you know as far as a system specifically. I'm a plumber. I have a plumbing business that's been around. I have customers. I'm a dang on good plumber, but you're telling me that I can't get $25,000 is insane when I make, $500,000 every year. So for me, it was just the plumbers that actually got through were the ones that knew the banks, that knew the people that had money, that had someone that could push their application along. And to me, that just made no sense. And it also is a reason why a lot of these systems are broken anyway. That is how funding was built, and that system was built during segregation, during slavery. So of course, we don't have that. We don't have that network. And so I wanted to flip that infrastructure on the head, and that meant we had to rebuild the infrastructure, which is what we did with Cypher. What was the second question?
It says, how does your product change the game? Which I think you answered.
We standardized it. Yeah, anyone now, no matter geography, no matter the business model, no matter how much money, you can now access capital if you go through Cypher.
Solid foundation as we dissected diasporic innovation. I think what stood common among three of you is that all your experiences are lived experiences, and there's the need to direct structural and societal change as we move towards diasporic innovation. So we'll switch the conversation up a little bit more. It's quite a few powerful words and segments in this conversation. So we'll move a little bit towards legacy. Legacy, so powerful. And I would like to hear from all three of you. What does legacy mean to you? AJ, you want to take it?
Okay. Wow, a lot of things. Legacy means, there's so many ways I can answer this, right? Like, thinking about the fact, my family's from Ghana. They immigrated to America. They had my brother and I here, and, for all the reasons that people immigrate to places, right? Better life, XYZ. But when I think about, I'm in a season where I'm thinking about family. Like, what is the seed that I want to plant? Like, the children that I want to have. And what can I give them? What can I teach them about not only this world, but, what it is like to be a, successful individual, what it would be like to be a woman in society, like the opportunities that they can have, the ceilings that are there, that's one way that I think of legacy. And then also in the beauty industry, which is the industry that I work in, and also the scientific industry, I'm at the intersection of both. Like being able to show that you could work on cosmetics, and that is science. That's already set. Like I'm finishing my PhD this year in chemistry, and that's something that I still have to, hammer in. Like I may not be doing organic chemistry, right? But I am doing something that involves so many facets of science that I want to show others that this is a problem that they can work on, that it's not going to end after I finish my PhD this year. And then the third thing that comes to mind is when I think of an exit, right? Like we all in business think of what is the terminus of what you're doing. And for me, an exit is about responsibility. Like we've built products for brands that, we have all this data on darker skinned people from our clinical testing and all this stuff. And when I think of an exit, I'm like, all of this data needs to go somewhere, right? And what is the most responsible way to exit in which all of this information about darker skin, melanin-rich, skin and textured hair, where can it go? Like, where is a place that it is responsible to put all that data? So the legacy of Sula Labs, I want it to go in a place that is a responsible place. I don't want to just give it to a large corporation that now has all this data and all these products and they can do anything that they want with it. I think my legacy will definitely be closely tied to what happens to the work that I'm building at Sula Labs. So yeah, there's so many answers that I have for this, but yeah.
Just one, that's so interesting because in the generic view of the word, you think of legacy as, just what can be maybe materially passed on, right? And in the views of a scientist and a genius in my eyes, data and science, how critical is that to be passed on? It's something that would typically be overlooked. So I'm very happy that you were able to bring that up, AJ. Powerful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not gonna lie,
right?
it's a little scary.
Absolutely.
Very scary. And I wanted to jump in there because there's what you said earlier, the word freedom really struck me. Because when I think about the difference of my life and the difference of the life my mom lived, and even the difference that my 23-year-old daughter lives today, the degree of freedom has expanded immensely between my mom and I see that happening with my daughter and I, but we're not losing the identity of who we are as people. That, to me, is what legacy means and what we're doing with Inspírame, about what we get to do to ensure that we can contribute to ending generational poverty, because I know it's possible. I ended it not just for my parents and I, but I've ended it for my children, and I will say as far as my children's children, and we're just getting started. And so when I think about the opportunity to pass this along, that's what legacy is for me, but grounded in that understanding of ensuring that you do not have to, as we like to say in our barrios in California, sell out. Like, please don't sell out. If anything, I'm here to say, do not sell out, because the more authentic you stay to who you are, as you continue to grow and have access to fill in the blank, again, that's how we change the narrative about, we don't have to be talking about being scrappy or whatnot. Like, no, we are collaborative. We are innovative. We are able to do more with less. These are words that corporate leaders are hoping peak talent understand today, much less 5 years from now, 10 years from now, because that's what the world is requiring of us. We're entering this fourth revolution. And so from an Inspírame perspective, it's about creating that opportunity to be able to see wide, because we can end generational poverty through education and just making sure everyone has that opportunity. Because like I tell folks, like, I've done it. And people look at me many times and say, you're crazy. And it goes back to that whole delirious thing, right? But I'm like, but I'm not. I really am not. I can see it, I can feel it, and I know what's needed, which goes back to that whole essence of why it's important to ensure you bring that lived experience, because no one can call BS on your lived experience. If anything, it's like, checkmate, let's have some more conversations. Sorry, do you want some notes? Let me just say one thing. Yesterday, we met, November. This is the beauty of Black Ambition, right? We met, And every time that we connect, we get to really meet each other more, like literally. So yesterday I came in, we were listening to all of your amazing stories. We stood up when the awardees were like, yes, yes, yes. And we're looking at each other. I'm like, okay, we understand because we've been there. Like we've been in those shoes, so we know exactly what you're feeling. And then I looked over at her and what did I say? I said, gosh, if all the money in the world went to the people doing the real work, this world would be so much better.
You also told me I look really nice, I think. I heard a compliment. That's one thing. Okay, yeah. Legacy. I always have to bring up my grandmother. So very quickly, she was the first Black woman banker in her state, executive, excuse me. And if anyone saw the Black Ambition pitch, probably not, but go watch it, because I have a soundbite from her talking and telling her story to start my pitch. And I tell it often because I do believe that I'm like standing on the shoulders of a giant and like I am her legacy. And one of the things that I'm fighting for is some of the same things that she was. And that was so long ago. And I'm like, wow, like, and I know I don't look it, but I'm 40. And so it's just, that is a long time to be fighting the same fight, and just adding technology to it is just not enough. And so for me, like, her story is what inspires me and what makes me say, all right, no, we're not going to just back down because this person said no. We're not going to just accept that this is the way that things go. But I do worry about that. Who's the next Jannae, right? And then who's the next person after that? So with legacy, what's important to me is that I'm inspiring enough people to continue this fight, because what happens is you have this one person who is very, very adamant about getting things done, and while they're here and while they're involved, it does get done. And as soon as they're gone, then it's like, who's going to, now who? And they're like, well, I mean, I believed in what she was saying, but like, not me. not me, come on, like, let's be for real. So how do I make my legacy self-sustaining? One thing is important to me, and then two, how do I create ripples effects in the things, in the work that I'm doing, in the work that I have brought people along to do, the people that have believed in us, like making sure that those ripples reach out so far that there's not only one Jannae that wants to keep it, there's 100 Jannaes, and there's 100 and 1,000 after them, and then, because that's the only way that this impact is truly impactful and measurable. That's a big word in economic mobility, is like, what's measurable about this? Like, I don't know, we have all this data, man, like, what do you want? But I wanted to keep going. This is all very important work, and it cannot die with us. And these panels are important, so I'm very thankful to you guys for putting us on these stages to tell our stories, because it could be the thing that inspired, like, someone in the audience is going to, like, say, I definitely want to get into skincare and Black women, and that I'm going to keep doing that work, and let me talk to her. I want to get into education, or I want to get into access to capital and government. Like, how do we continue to push legacy forward? And so legacy to me and legacy building is building sustainable legacy. That is, it's so inspiring, has so many ripples that you create new legacies after the fact.
Awesome. Ancestral intelligence, that's what you started off on. We touched a little bit on it last night in our opening session. And I'm sure we'll continue as we talk about legacy. That ancestral intelligence just stands out phenomenally in this conversation. The burden can get heavy. It can get heavy. I feel it. I feel it in when you speak about breaking those barriers and going against societal norms. What are some of the best practices that you personally adopt as you work towards building that sustainability for your business model and for continuing that legacy of diasporic innovation?
I'll jump in here. So one thing that was a proving point to, do I continue this? Do I not? What does this all mean? Because it gets very hard and very heavy. Mind you, I'm married. I have 3 children. I am the only daughter to Mexican Americans that have 3 sons. And if you are a Mexican American in California and you are that Chicana, as we say, te tocó la chinga. and sorry for that, but it's like you have the freaking load, and it is real. I did not expect to lose my mom, who was my best friend 5 years ago, unexpectedly at 59 years young. And it was for all the reasons that we are working to prevent, because it was hard, right? And so the fact that I am still here, sitting upright and even able to get words across, much less building the products we're building to ensure that we can create that legacy and that sustainable output, I had to go back to my basics, which was my faith. And what I mean by going back to my basics, it was just like, what did I lean on to get from being born on welfare, living in Section 8 housing, to getting through college, and it was my faith. And that is what's been grounded me. I do my daily rosary every single morning, followed by my meditation. I read for a good hour, and on Sundays, without fail, I am home to go to Mass with either my dad and my kids, or if I'm not home, I at the very least, go to church wherever it is that I am at. So tomorrow, hopefully, I will be in Mass here in Puerto Rico. Did I not say I need to go to Mass? That is my thing. And when things get hard, it's just like going back to basics. It really is. And believe you me, even coming this weekend, I was like, I'm actually kind of nervous, because again, it's like it's getting bigger, but I'm like, but this is what we want. And so no, let's just go back to basics. So for me, it's that. And as long as I can continue to stand up, articulate my work, my kids feel loved, my husband feels seen and respected, and I'm happy, like that is what keeps me going.
I'll go. I'm going to say the thing that I've really had to put into practice is grace for myself, grace for those around me. It helps me relax. As a Black and brown founder, as a woman, as a queer founder, like you walk into the rooms and you kind of have you feel like you have to have this performative certainty. Like, I do have the answer, and I got this under control, don't worry about it, you can trust me, I know you already don't, so now I have to get into this motion of building trust in the first conversation, which is really weird, and it's a weird position to be in when you're trying to build a company. And so that is a lot of stress and weight to carry, to feel like you have to know everything all the time and be on top of things all the time in order to feel like someone would trust you with money, or someone would trust you with their relationships, or whatever the case may be. So just transitioning out of that space has been probably the most helpful thing. And also the confidence that you feel when it's like, I don't have the answer, I'll get back to you. Like, why do you expect me to know this thing that you just pulled out of your butt, just to test me, or whatever, or rock me or shake me. And then it's like, more people actually do want to work with you just because you're confident enough to say, like, I don't know, you want me to know thousands of pieces of information that doesn't make any sense, but I'll get back to you. So that performative certainty also allows you the space to, the reason I feel like I have the best team in the world is because I let go of that. Because now I can attack my gaps and say, you know what, I need this exact person to be here to answer that question for me. Or if I need to ask them, I can ask. Like, my co-founder is a beast, and I can just ask her. I hate numbers. Yes, I have a tech company and we are in finance. I hate numbers. That's not my thing. But you ask this person, I mean, she's like Matilda. It's honestly a little weird sometimes. You can just spit a number out and she's like, yeah, the answer is 4,300. And I'm like, cool, go tell that person that just asked me that. But so that allows me to relax and be confident as a CEO and make decisions, knowing that not only do I not have to have all the right answers right now, that I can make mistakes, but I now have the best team to fill those gaps. And so I'm just like moving, and we're moving faster because I'm vulnerable with them. I'm vulnerable with people. I'm transparent with you guys. I don't care. Like, judge me, whatever the case may be. But it has been a huge part of our success.
What stands out here is that the balance between ambition and sustainability is such a critical part of legacy building. On to just, if we were assessing the current ecosystem, If we could redesign what support for diverse entrepreneurs look like, if we had the power to do that in philanthropy, corporate partnerships, public sector, what is the one change that you believe would bring that massive impact to you and your business?
Wait, can I answer the last question really quick? Because I wanted to answer both at the same time, but this definitely...
Take your time.
I just wanted to say really quick, I love both of your answers, and I wanted to share mine because I think it is a little bit different. I'm very strict. I'm very, very regimented, strict about a lot of things. And I think what actually has been helpful for me is being strict and very disciplined. Also knowing that like your parents are right about these things. Like my parents were very strict on me growing up, and low-key for good reasons, because those are practices that you must take with you in order to get to what you want. So I just wanted to throw that out there. That, and also at Black Ambition Demo Day, I randomly was told to ask Pharrell a question, and that will forever kind of haunt me because I was really shy. But he gave me really good advice, and I wanted to answer your question with that, Alexis. I asked him, I literally asked him the same question, how do you stay level-headed and all these things? Because if you've ever met Pharrell, he's too chill, like very suspiciously chill for everything that he has going. Yeah, like his great skin, all these things. Like, and we do a lot. Like I'm working on my PhD. I'm also running a high growth business. So I asked him, okay, Pharrell, how do you stay chill? And he said, doing something active, being fit, and making that the hardest part of your day. And I've taken that with me. It actually really worked. So I wanted to give that advice to the audience too, and being disciplined with that as well. Okay, so what was this question?
Wait, just sidebar. I don't see you as shy at all.
Oh.
So that's interesting for you to
Thank
share.
you. I really
but
am.
we always say that closed mouths don't get fed, right? So that's one of our Black Ambition mantras for sure. And I'm sure you've learned that along the way.
Sure, yeah, definitely. My mouth be
And
closed
she's
sometimes.
So good job with standing up.
She's super funny for being like.
Yeah, I don't see that part at all. All right, so if we could redesign support for diverse entrepreneurs in any relevant sector, what would that look like for you?
Well, being realistic. Sometimes, where they're like, oh, we are over-mentored and underfunded. That's such a bar for real, because I think sometimes that is very, very true. I think sometimes, you see all these headlines of all these people that are like, oh, 19, white person just dropped out of college, raised $3 million to go test this thing. And I'm like, wouldn't that, going back to your question, what would it look like if the money always flowed to the people that actually needed it most, and we're building something for real for people? I think being realistic about the fact that we deserve, opportunities like that too. And that's why Black Ambition is always I'm so grateful for it, because in many ways, I think that it is our shot in order to, have that capital to grow just to test something out. And we don't get that opportunity a lot. So definitely being realistic in that sense is really important to me.
Makes sense. Jannae?
That's it. I mean, that's what I said, being able to make mistakes. Anyone else but us can make mistakes, and they can continue to get money, they can continue to get relationships, connections, all the things. And it's almost like if we don't show up dang near perfect, that won't be a reality. You get one chance, maybe. And then if my counterpart messes up that chance, then we don't get the chance. It's a very interesting, we all know what it is, but it's very interesting. And so a ecosystem that didn't perform in that way, it would be game changing, because we would all get funding. They would look at the idea, not the person. And I think they realized that we would be the ones with all the funding. We would be the ones with all the successful companies. And there is some, just baked in racism there that can't happen. So that's what change looks like.
Yes. There's no reason why I think I've had to do 8 different accelerators Okay, Black Ambition is the only one that actually didn't ask me to not be myself. So much so that there were other founders that were at Black Ambition who said, they were freaking out. And I'm like, welcome to our world. Yep. And I have to tell you that so many of these accelerators that were done, I'm gonna say I'm a unicorn. You know, nobody expected me to start where I started to where I am now, in the rooms that I'm in, the conversations that I'm having. Like yesterday, I'm like, oh, my kids, she's like, what, you have kids? I'm like, yeah, like it can be done. Because what makes me so upset is that I've ran into some of these accelerators who get the funding to do the said thing of mentoring us and don't provide us any access to their network and their capital. And that is exhausting. I mean, I think of the day, imagine, I am an executive at a tech company where I'm responsible for 300 people in an organization of 40,000 people. And I'm also the founder of my Inspirame company where we're supporting over 30,000 students and over 40,000 parents. And I imagine the day of, if I could put all my attention in Inspirame, it could be the millions and millions who are so deserving, and it's simply because they don't give us access to frickin' capital. It's upsetting, and it's personal.
I feel it. Thank you so much for sharing. I got the prompt that it's time to open up to the audience for questions. Do we have any questions in the room? Would love to hear from you. We covered quite a bit here, so would love to hear what has resonated with you and if you have any questions for our panelists.
Tough crowd.
Thought leaders. I'm wondering, how can we be allies to you beyond that? Are you currently fundraising? Are you running media campaigns? How can we all in this room kind of support you over the next 48 hours?
Funding is always great for me. We are actually at the tail end of a fundraising round. And to be able to even say that in this environment and looking how I look and saying that, yeah, we're almost done, it's great. But the hardest part is the end. So introductions to people who want to come in and be last in, or whatever it is. We are also launching a media campaign around World Cup. One of the things that our software does is help business owners prepare for opportunity as well, not just funding. So that's procurement and things like large events that will, be a game changer for their businesses. So we are rolling out in all of the host cities in the U.S. To help those businesses. So, just spread the word, or come be on the platform yourself.
Yeah, plus one. We are raising and looking for investors that actually care about legacy. And I don't have time anymore to be having these conversations or to be a check the box for someone. Like really, really looking. I can guarantee you that you will make your money back and then some. We also have a strategic partnership with a nonprofit that has been started to ensure that our tech product always stays free for our communities that need it most. And so that 501(c), please, we take donations all the time, because the more that we can raise there, I want to eliminate any person that has an inkling that they need to drop out because they got a flat tire or they got a parking ticket. I mean, it's to that level of life happens that we want to get to. We are kicked off across California, so if you have any connections there, I would love to be at every lowrider show, at every concert, at every baseball game, at every church. We're on the radio station twice a month, and so we have QR codes. So again, anything and everything is what we want to connect on because we're ready. And then on the business development side, we're negotiating pretty big contracts with the state of California. And so if anybody is interested in helping us get that over the line or have grant opportunities for workforce development opportunities, that is where we can step in. So again, open to any and all conversations because all partnerships and conversations are welcome.
Yeah, this question's always hard because low-key, it's hard to ask for what you want. But if I were to be honest, I mean, we are currently looking at adding on some advisors from, corporate companies. Think L'Oreal, P&G, stuff like that. So if y'all know anyone in that area, that would actually be really great. and just expanding the team in such a way that we have some veterans or more veterans on the team versus like newer people that are learning. I mean, newer people are great. Learning skills is fun, but you know what I mean. We're not currently like doing a round of raising, but raising money is always really good. And I, just like you said, I guarantee you will make your money back. So yeah.
We have another question over here. Thank you.
First off, as a social entrepreneur myself and founder, thank you for, it's very nice to hear your stories, and it's like, I'm not alone. I resonate with a lot of things you said, so thank you for that. I'm curious, to your last point, like, what networks or communities have you found really helpful in your experience? Obviously as entrepreneurs and founders, we'll always tap into different networks, including this Diasporic great community. But what else? I'm just curious in your experience, where have you found, I'm seeing people respond, they're active, just curious about that.
Obviously, Black
Like
Ambition.
yeah. So, yes, Black Ambition is a big one. For us, what our approaches to getting our software out there has been through economic mobility initiatives. And that just goes to, shout out to finding your people and not like trying to fit into rooms where they don't want you. Economic mobility is a big thing right now. We are actually, can I have another ask? But those rooms, the communities that are like this one, actually, we have made sure to put ourselves in those type of communities. So the ones that are trying to support small business owners, the ones that are working in spaces in economic mobility, whether that's economic development, whether that's government, whether that's cities, that has been Cypher's community. And then we are from Kansas City, Kansas, and believe it or not, it's a red state, it's very much red. We have built strong community there in the Midwest just because the entire Midwest is so overlooked by everyone. They kind of bond together on that, no matter who you are, what you believe in. And so when it comes to like finding community, like I get this a lot, where are the communities? Where do we go? Like you find your people and then the community starts to build. Like we've built our own community just doing that, and it happens to be with governments, which is weird. So yeah.
I'll add, I think we're at time, but I'll just add think about your own network, like who is within your network and what shared synergies exist there. And so for us specifically, when we were first starting out, we had a lot of partnerships with nonprofits that were focused on with youth that were formerly incarcerated. And so those organizations were really looking just to minimize the trauma that the youth felt, but it would stop there. And I was like, oh, no. Like there's opportunity to also heal the educational trauma, and that's where we come in. And now more than 98% of their students are no longer just stopping there. They're actually the first in their families to go get their GED or go to the community college and actually getting careers. And so just look for those synergies, because they're actually, if you slow down a bit before going really, really fast, you'll find those pockets there, and it really just start with just who is within your network.
What they said.
All right, we're at time, but I just wanted to take the time out to thank you all for being legacy builders. Thank you for being diasporic innovators. Thank you for actively shaping the future of entrepreneurship. It was a pleasure to be a part of the planet with you.
Alexis.
Thank you.